Hey there, I'm Opilia. I'm a 32-year-old freelance graphic designer, and lately my business has been on fire. I've been riding high on the success and couldn't be more thrilled with how my career is shaping up. Or so I thought. I've been married to Eric for 5 years now. He's a charming real estate agent, always saying the right thing. We met at a friend's barbecue, and sparks flew from the start. His family welcomed me with open arms, especially his dad, George. I thought I'd hit the in-law jackpot. Opilia, darling, you're the daughter I never had, George would say, patting my hand at family dinners. I'd beam with pride, feeling like I truly belonged. My home office is my sanctuary, the place where all the magic happens. I've poured my heart into creating it, from the ergonomic chair to the state-of-the-art computer setup. Your office is amazing, babe, Eric would say, leaning against the doorframe. You've really outdone yourself. I'd smile, feeling on top of the world. But lately, there's been an odd edge to his compliments, as if he's forcing the words out. My best friend, Lydia, noticed it too. Over coffee last week, she asked, "Is everything okay with Eric? He seemed a bit off at your birthday party." I shrugged it off, saying, "Oh, he's just stressed about work, you know how it is." But truthfully, I noticed things too. Little comments, the way his jaw tightens when I talk about a successful project, the subtle eye roll when I mention a new client. Eric's sister, Melissa, has always been supportive, but lately she's been checking in more often. "How are things with you and Eric?" she'd ask, her voice full of concern. I'd assure her everything was fine, but deep down, I was starting to wonder. Then there's George. He's always been a bit intense, but recently, I've caught him watching me with a calculating look. "You know, Opilia," he said at our last family dinner, "it's admirable how you've built your business. But don't you think it's time to slow down? Maybe start thinking about a family?" I laughed it off, but the comment stuck with me. Why would I need to slow down? My business is thriving, and Eric and I had agreed we weren't ready for kids yet, or at least I thought we had. As I sit here in my office, staring at the screen, I can't shake the feeling that something's not right. The perfect life I thought I had is starting to feel like an illusion, and I'm not sure how much longer I can keep pretending everything's okay. But hey, that's life, right? Just when you think you've got it all figured out, bam, the rug gets pulled out from under you. Stay tuned because this story is just getting started. I couldn't believe my ears. There I was, standing frozen in the hallway, listening to my husband and father-in-law plotting to destroy everything I'd worked so hard for. "Dad, we need to do something about Opilia's office." Eric's voice drifted from the living room. "Her success, it's too much." George's reply made my blood run cold. "Don't worry, son. I've got a plan. We'll stage a little accident. A burst pipe maybe. Water damage can be so destructive." I clamped my hand over my mouth to keep from gasping. My mind raced, replaying every interaction I had with them over the past few months. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. The time Eric accidentally spilled coffee on my laptop. The way George always seemed to interrupt during important client calls. It wasn't just coincidence or bad luck. It was deliberate. I stumbled back to my office, locking the door behind me. My hands shook as I dialed Lydia's number. "Lydia, I need you. Can you come over?" An hour later, we sat in a coffee shop far from my house. I spilled everything. "Oh my God, Opilia," Lydia's eyes were wide with shock. "You need to get out of there." I shook my head. "I can't just leave. Everything I've worked for is in that house, in that office." "Then you need to gather evidence," Lydia said firmly. "You can't let them get away with this." She was right, of course. But the thought of going back, of pretending everything was normal, made me sick to my stomach. "Remember last Christmas?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper, when Eric told everyone at dinner that I was thinking of quitting freelancing to start a family. Lydia nodded. "I remember." "I never said that. He just made it up." And when I confronted him later, he said he was just helping me save face because my business was struggling. "But your business was doing great," Lydia frowned. "Exactly. It's like he's been trying to undermine me all along. I didn't want to see it." Lydia reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "Listen, my cousin Sarah is a detective. Let me give her a call. She might be able to help." An hour later, Detective Sarah Chen joined us. Her no-nonsense attitude was exactly what I needed. "Opilia, what they're planning is a crime," Sarah said, her dark eyes serious. But we need solid evidence. Are you willing to play along for a bit to get that evidence? I took a deep breath. The thought of going back, of pretending everything was fine, made my skin crawl. But what choice did I have? I'll do it, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'll get the evidence we need. Sarah nodded approvingly. Good. We'll set up hidden cameras and voice recorders. But be careful. Don't confront them until we have everything. As I left the coffee shop, my mind was spinning. How had my life turned into this nightmare? Beneath the fear and betrayal, though, I felt something stronger. Determination. They thought they could break me and destroy everything I built. Well, they had another thing coming. I straightened my shoulders and headed home. It was time to turn the tables on Eric and George. If they wanted to play games, fine, but they were about to find out that I played to win. The next few weeks were like living in a spy movie. Detective Sarah hooked me up with high-tech gear, tiny cameras and voice recorders I strategically placed around the house. My home office turned into a surveillance hub, and I felt like a secret agent every time I walked in. Hey babe, working late again? Eric would ask, his voice dripping with fake concern. I'd smile sweetly. Just wrapping up a project. Don't wait up. Little did he know I was combing through hours of footage and audio, piecing together their sinister plan. And as it turned out, I uncovered far more than I bargained for. One night, I overheard a phone call that made my stomach twist. Jessica, baby, I'll see you tomorrow. Opilia thinks I'm at a client meeting. My husband was cheating on me with Jessica, his perky blonde coworker. I wanted to scream, to confront him right then and there, but I knew I had to keep my cool. This was just another piece of evidence in the growing case against him. As I dug deeper, I stumbled upon something even more shocking. George, my oh-so-perfect father-in-law, had a hidden past of fraud and tax evasion. I found old documents and emails pointing to a tangled web of financial deceit that made my head spin. I worked tirelessly, backing up all my files and moving my most valuable equipment to a storage unit. There was no way I was letting them destroy my livelihood. But keeping up the act was taking a toll. Eric began giving me suspicious looks, probably wondering why I wasn't panicking about my so-called upcoming accident. You seem different lately, he remarked one morning over breakfast, his eyes narrowing. I shrugged, trying to stay casual, just focused on work. You know how it is. I needed an ally, someone on the inside. That's when I turned to Melissa, Eric's sister. I'd always liked her, and I had a gut feeling she wasn't on board with her family's toxic behavior. We met at a cafe, far from prying eyes. Melissa, I need to tell you something, and it's going to sound crazy. I told her everything, the plot, the affair, George's shady past. To my relief, Melissa believed me. I always knew Dad was manipulative, but this, she shook her head, clearly disturbed. I'm so sorry, Opilia. What can I do to help? Together, we formulated a plan. Melissa would play dumb, feeding me information from family gatherings I conveniently couldn't attend. The night before the planned accident, I was a bundle of nerves. I triple-checked the cameras and recorders, making sure everything was in place. You okay, hun? Eric asked, his hand on my shoulder, sending a wave of revulsion through me. You seem tense. I forced a smile. Just a big deadline tomorrow. I'm going to turn in early. As I lay in bed, pretending to sleep, I heard Eric moving around downstairs, probably setting up for tomorrow's flood. Little did he know, I had a few surprises of my own planned. I thought about everything I'd uncovered, the betrayal, the lies, the years of manipulation. Part of me was heartbroken, but an even bigger part was furious. They thought they could break me, destroy everything I built. They were in for a rude awakening. Tomorrow, Eric and George would spring their trap, but I'd be ready. And when the dust settled, they'd realize they'd messed with the wrong woman. As I drifted off to sleep, a small smile played on my lips. Tomorrow was going to be one hell of a day. I woke up early, my heart pounding. Today was the day. I heard Eric leave for work, or so he thought. I knew he and George would be back soon to execute their plan. Sure enough, an hour later, I heard them enter the house. I stayed in my bedroom, watching a live feed from the hidden cameras on my laptop. They were in my office, fiddling with the pipes under the sink. Oops, George said, his voice dripping with mock concern as water started gushing out. Looks like we have a problem here. I waited until the water was ankle deep before making my move. I stormed into the office, feigning shock. What the hell is going on here? Eric spun around, his face a mask of fox worry. Opilia, thank God you're here. The pipe just burst. I crossed my arms. Cut the crap, Eric. I know exactly what you're doing. Their faces fell as I pulled out my phone, playing a video of them plotting the entire scheme. You've been spying on us? Eric stammered. No, I've been protecting myself from your sick games, I snapped back. George stepped forward, trying to calm the situation. Now, Opilia, let's not overreact. Overreact? I laughed bitterly. You mean like planning to destroy someone's career? Or maybe cheating on your wife, Eric? Eric's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Save it. I know about Jessica. Just then, Melissa burst in, clutching a folder. I've got it, Opilia. George's eyes widened. Melissa, what are you doing here? She glared at her father. Doing the right thing for once. Here's all the evidence of your fraudulent business practices, Dad. As if on cue, Detective Chen walked in, flanked by 2 officers. George Thompson, we've been investigating you for months. You're under arrest for fraud and tax evasion. Eric fell to his knees, begging. Opilia, please, I'm sorry. I'll change, I promise. I looked at him, feeling nothing but disgust. Save your breath, Eric. We're done. I want a divorce. The next few months were a whirlwind. With all the evidence I gathered, my lawyers secured a very favorable divorce settlement. George's arrest made headlines, and his business partners quickly distanced themselves, leading to his financial ruin. Eric, tainted by association with his father's crimes, lost his job. Last I heard, he was working as a cashier at a gas station. 1 year later, I stood on a stage accepting an award for Innovative Small Business of the Year. My design company hadn't just survived, it had thrived. I looked out at the audience, seeing Melissa and Lydia cheering me on. They'd been my rocks through everything. This award, I said into the microphone, is for everyone who's ever been underestimated, manipulated, or held back. Your setbacks don't define you, your resilience does. As applause filled the room, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The past year had been tough, but I come out stronger. I learned who my true friends were, and more importantly, I learned just how strong I could be. Walking off the stage, I smiled to myself. Eric and George thought they could break me. Instead, they made me unbreakable. And as for me, I was just getting started. The story has ended, but I'd love to know your thoughts. If you discovered your partner was secretly plotting to sabotage your career, would you confront them immediately or gather evidence first? What would you do differently from Opilia? Share your thoughts in the comments below.